Okay, it seems like we've got most of the people that are here. So we're gonna start off coding club now. So hi, my name is Andrew. I'm a sophomore average high school, and I'll be your instructor for the first week of coding club. To start off, our agenda for today is we're first gonna talk about what is coding in general, as some of you may or may not have experience with coding yet, so it's introduced to that to you. Um, we'll be setting up Collab, which is like an online IDE that you guys can use. You don't need to download anything, so it's very easy to set up. And then we'll go into our lesson. I'll be teaching Python to you guys. So we're going to talk about printing and data types. So just the very basics of Python today, and we're going to have some practice problems, not necessarily at the end, but just throughout for you guys to practice the concepts that you've learned. So just wondering if you guys could like type in chat, or if you guys want to say out loud, like, do any of you guys have any like prior coding experience, or if
I have I have done Python before.
okay, that's cool. How much like how much do you know of Python? Like,
I probably know like like a little bit more than the basics, like the loops and variable syntax
okay, I
and
see.
like defining functions, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds cool.
I have some experience with Python 2 before.
Oh, Python too. Okay.
No, I mean Python 2. Like,
Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant like the like Python 2, the old version. Okay, that's great. Like, do you know like all like like all the data types, like variables, functions, loops,
yeah,
and stuff? Okay.
yeah, I know all those stuff.
All right. So, for those of you who already know a little bit of Python, this first day might be a little bit slow, but stay tuned in because you know, I'll be organizing like another separate group of like next week. For those of you who probably know already a little bit, you guys can like collaborate, maybe come up with the project you guys want to work on. Uh, but overall, I guess the first day is just you guys can maybe just use this as like a review again. But I'll be talking about some basic Python stuff. So sorry for you guys that already know Python, but I promise I'll get you something fun, something more exciting to do next week. So anyways, we've gone over the agenda, so I'll just start off. So what is programming? Programming is basically a way to instruct your computer to perform tasks. Instruct a computer just basically means to tell, to say, and when you talk, you know, in the real world, you use a language, and when you're programming, you also need to use a language as well. There's various languages, so we're going to be specifically using Python, but there's more than just one way to communicate to the computer than just Python. So Python's one language, there's other languages like C, C++, Java, JavaScript, HTML, PHP. There's so much more. But Python is like the most popular right now. It has the highest average salary in like the
Java's
industry.
the most popular, I think.
Uh, Possibly. I think maybe in 2021 Python might have overtaken Java. But yeah, those two have been like rivals for a long time in terms of the most popular language. They're both very useful in their own ways. So uh overall, I'm gonna be going over Python in this time. I'm gonna be teaching as Python. That's the language we're utilizing. And so sorry. The next slide is why you should code. Coding, the coding might look intimidating or daunting at first because you know you might picture like hackers and in like a movie or whatever they look like all like a dark room, but it's really not that scary. Um, the reason why a lot of people like to code is that computers are very, very fast. Um, an average computer can do 2 billion operations in a second. Like it can, you know, you can add like 100 like add two very large numbers. It can add like 2 plus 5. It could add like 10-digit numbers like millions. It could do a lot of those in 1 second. And if you think about that compared to, the normal arithmetic we do in like math class, it might take us like, we might be able to only do like 10 computations in 10 seconds. If they're like 1-digit numbers, but then you add in like 2-digit and 3-digit numbers, and then we significantly slow down a lot. So computers are basically a very fancy calculator that you can use, but it can do much more than just calculate numbers. Another advantage, reason you should code, is that computers don't get tired. Let's say you have a big task ahead of you, you want to analyze a lot of data, and or like a simple task, even adding up like 2 billion numbers and then finding the average of it. If you were to manually plug that into a calculator, that would take you like months probably to do that. But with the computer, if all your information is organized, you can finish all that in just like a couple of seconds. And and if it's an even bigger task, like you want to like machine learning, you want to feed it a lot of information, you just create your program, and then you go to sleep and you let the program run by itself. So that's why coding is so easy, so good for you. And lastly, coding is fun. I'm sure you guys will find the task of coding very enjoyable. It's really cool when you guys can find a solution to a problem and repeat that again and again. And the sense of accomplishment you feel from solving some of the challenge problems that you believed was like difficult is I think that's a lot of great feedback that you guys get. So beginning to code, you always need an IDE, which is an integrated development environment, I believe. That's what it's called. It's an environment when you can edit, and you have a lot of edit code, and you have a lot of tools to use. Typically, you would have to download this from Google somewhere online. You'd have to like search up. There's a couple ones, like there's well, the only one I can think of right now is VS Code. There's a couple of other ones like Sublime, I guess. Sublime Text is another IDE. But today we'll be using Google Colab. It's just like a Google Doc. It's very easy to set up. So if everyone could just go to Google Drive right now and follow the steps to create a new collab. I'll demo this for you really quickly. So you would go to Google Drive, press the new button in the top left, just like if you're creating a Google Doc, spreadsheet, or presentation. You would go down, click on the more button, and then you have the option to click on Google Collaboratory. So in this case, we press new, more, and you'll see here Google Colab. And you get this screen right here. And this is what it should look like after you have created it. I'll give everyone like a minute just to quickly get that set up. When you guys are finished setting it up, just type like yes to me in chat, or you can type anything, to be honest. Yeah, just type like yes to me in chat. Oh, okay, can I show it again? Sure, of course. So to set up, okay, to set up Colab, you would need to go to your Google Drive, just like you're printing, sorry, not like, just like you're creating a Google Doc. So you click the new button, you'll see all these right here. See folder, file upload, photo upload, and Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, which is the ones you would normally make. This case, you would not scroll down, you would hover over more. And then on the right, you'll find a link called Google Collaboratory. And you click that, and this is what you can use to code in Python. It's a very convenient feature that Google offers. Oh,
For some
wait.
reason, mine doesn't have it.
Yeah, you have to go to connect more apps and then you have to scroll down, find Collaboratory, and then download it.
Oh, okay. So connect more apps, and then I guess Collaboratory. Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't realize this. So if you don't have Collab yet, you'd have to okay, thanks Angelina. So you have to go down and then press connect more apps, and you'll find Collaboratory here. So I guess I'll just walk you guys through again. Sorry, it's my bad. So you press new, more. If you can't find Google Colab here, press connect more apps, and then search up Collaboratory, and then for me it says install, but for you guys, if it's not installed yet, you can just press install here, and then you can create a new one. So okay, all right, cool. Seems like most of you have gotten it installed. So we'll get started on the coding. All right, so first thing you guys can do is you guys might not understand this yet. For those of you who code already, you guys will, but just you can't copy and paste this, but just type this into your code. If you should have automatically have a code text box, but if you don't, you would have to let's see. Sorry, you would have to press plus code in the top left here to add a separate code box. Plus text is it's just like a normal text file. You can write text. So just type this, type my name is equal to, and then insert your name here, and then print hello and welcome. My name. That's it, yeah. So just type this here, and then inside of the colon, just put in your name. And if you run it, if I put my name here, my name is Andrew. Run it, it should say hello and welcome, Andrew. Okay. I'll give you guys a moment to type that in. And if it works, you guys can tell me. This is pretty simple code, but it's pretty cool. It's your first code that you guys have wrote, so it's nice.
I don't know why, but everyone keeps starting with hello world.
That's just it's just like it's conventional, I guess. Whenever you like start coding, hello world is just like a cool way to start. I'm not sure exactly why either, but I think everything's just hello world whenever you start learning a language. So this funny thing is some text editors actually default, they'll start with like print hello world, which is pretty fine. So anyways, hopefully you guys have all got this down. It should print out hello and welcome, like your name. My name is Andrew. My name is Andrew, so it would print hello and welcome, Andrew. So that's that. And So what we just did was we used a print statement. And printing is a way to get the computer to talk to you. It gets the computer to like say something back. You've written it a set of instructions and now the computer is responding. In Python, the print function is used to tell a computer to talk. The message that it's printing should be surrounded by quotes. So as you can see, it should print and then in parentheses and then quotation marks. Type whatever message you guys want in that. So you guys can try printing just hello world by using the syntax as follows. Okay, hopefully you guys got that to work. Make sure that if any code is not working, just like chat it to me and I can help you fix it. So hopefully you guys printed hello world, and then if you click the play looking button, it should run the code and you should get hello world. This is what your code should look like. It should be print and then in parentheses, hello world in quotation marks. Make sure it's in quotation marks because that's what they call a string. Otherwise, it'll interpret hello world as a variable, which is something we'll talk about in a moment. So hopefully you guys got the first print statement down. That was pretty simple, but here's just 3 extra practice questions. Try printing these 3 symbols. You can print, if you want to print like a second line, just press enter and do a second print statement. So like, let's say I wanted to print 2 things. So print hello, and then print world. I'll just print it in 2 lines, hello world. So knowing that, you can use multiple print statements to print a tree. Number 2, you can also print a bunny, and 3, a frog. So I give you guys like 5 to 10 minutes to try that out. If you guys are finished, just type like finish to me in chat.
Wait, honest, this is really about just copying the symbols.
Okay, actually just pick one of them to practice. That's probably because we are a little bit short on time as of now. So just pick either the tree, bunny, or the frog. I would say these probably go in order of difficulty. The tree is really easy and the frog's probably the hardest. So based off of your experience, you can try any of the following. We got 3 people done so far. I'll give it like 2 more minutes, for you guys to try this out. And remember, spaces do show up in the final, in the output, so. Okay, seems like a lot of people are done as of so far, so I'll show the answers to all 3 of the pictures. And next slide. So this first code segment is for printing the tree. The second segment here is for printing a bunny, and the third segment here is for printing a frog. Notice how I use spaces for the frog on the left and the right, to fill in the empty spaces. Also, it makes the code look a little bit nicer. But the spaces on the left are necessary. The spaces on the right are technically not, but they just make the frog actually look like a frog. So, uh, so cool. Hopefully, you guys found that pretty cool. So after printing, we'll talk about we'll talk about variables and variables. The programming languages offer a method of storing data for reuse. You might need to store like a name, a password, or an ID. And in Python, we assign variables using the equal sign. And I'll show you an example of that. So you guys can follow along with the direct, as I do this myself as well. So firstly, we're gonna define a variable called a meal and then assign it to the food you ate for breakfast. And then you can print out meal underneath it. So just like you can print out a string, you can also print out a variable that is assigned to a string. And a string is basically just something with quotation marks around it. So I'll do this here. And then the second thing is to reassign meal to the food that you ate for lunch and then print it out again. And then finally, reassign meal to the food you ate for dinner. If you didn't have dinner yet, reassign it to something you would want to eat for dinner. And then print out meal one final time. So I'll do that here in the blank doc I just made. So we'll first create a variable meal and then assign it to, not really sure what I ate for breakfast. I don't think I ate anything, nothing. And then we'll print meal. And then for lunch, I ate pizza for lunch. We'll print meal again. And in this case, you won't have to put parentheses, not parentheses, you won't have to put like quotation marks around the meal because meal is referring to a variable, not a string. The meal is basically a variable and you don't have to put strings around variables. You only have to put quotation marks around strings. And finally, what I ate for dinner, I ate dumplings for dinner. So then print meal again. So as you see, when I run the program, it'll print nothing, pizza, dumplings, because first meal is nothing and I'll print nothing. Then I change meal to pizza. So then I print pizza. And then lastly, I change it to dumplings. So it prints dumplings. So hopefully you guys followed along with that and made sense to you. If you have any questions, you can ask me and feel free to ask. I'm glad to help you guys out. So I've been mentioning words like string, the word string a lot of times. And what a string is simply is that it's a data type. And there's 4 main data types that you're going to be learning in this course. And that is firstly a string, which is just a block of text. A string is either surrounded by double quotes or single quotes. both of those would work. You just have to be consistent with which one you're using. Let's say you start off with a double quote for hello world, but then end with a single quote. Python, I'm pretty sure Python will get angry at you and then it'll tell you there's something wrong. So, um, so those are strings. They're basically just words whenever you want to print out, a certain word or a sentence, you would use strings. Another data type is an integer. An integer is a whole number. It includes all numbers, all counting numbers without a decimal point, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the negative counterparts as well. So it could be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Data types can also be a float, and a float is a decimal number. It can be used to represent more precise measurements, such as 2.5 inches or 3.24 centimeters. Floats are as anything with the decimal. So 3 point would be a float as well, since it has a decimal point in it. And lastly, we have a Boolean, which we'll talk about tomorrow. And a Boolean is just a true or false statement. It's just either true or it's false. And Python is case sensitive, so make sure when you're using Boolean statements, they're capitalized. So yeah, trues always has a capital T and false has a capital F. All right, so we've talked about strings. We've done some stuff with strings. We've been printing strings, assigning strings to variables. So now we're going to talk about numbers. And computers can store much more than just a string of text. And they're able to store numbers which can be split into two types, like I just said, integers and floats. Integers are whole numbers while floats have decimals. And we'll do like an example for numbers. So Avengers Endgame was released in 2019 and it has an IMDb rating of 8.4. Assign a variable release year to 2019 and assign another variable rating to 8.4. So I'll give you guys a quick minute to do this in your own Collab as you follow along. It should look something like this in the top right by the end. Said release year is that, okay, that's incorrect. It's not 2006. So that should be 2019. Sorry about that. So yeah, release year is 2019 and the rating is 8.4. So hopefully you guys have defined both of those variables. So in Python, you can find the type of a variable by doing this. So just type this exact code in your Collab, print type release year and the type of rating. So I'll go quickly do that myself in here as well. Release year is equal to 2018, not 2016, and 3.4. We'll print the type of release year. And we'll print rating. Oh, so print type of rating. So what do you think is going to happen when I run this code? What do you think is the type of release year or the type of rating? So yeah, exactly. It's going to be an integer and a float. So as you can see, when we run the code, it says the first one's an int and the second one's a float. Since release year is 2019, it does not have a decimal point in it, meaning it's an integer. And when we print the type of rating, That's 8.4 and it does have a decimal. So that's classified as a float. So that's one exercise. So that is just a basic how to define numbers and assign it to a variable. And next we'll talk about operations. Operations is operations in programming is the same thing as operations in math. Some basic operations include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and modulus. You've probably encountered all of these, maybe except for modulus, because that one's a little bit fancier, but it's very useful as well. Modulus basically is a function to check the remainder after dividing by a certain number. So like 10 modulo 3 would be equal to 1 because when you do 10 divided by 3, sorry, when you do 10 divided by 3, you get 3 remainder 1 because 3 times 3 is 9. You're still missing 1 to get to 10. So that's just a basic overview of modulo. So we'll do a quick practice exercise on this as well. The iPhone 12 has dimensions of 5.78 inches by 2.82 inches. Define a variable phone length and assign it to the number 5.78, and then define another variable phone width and assign it to 2.82. Using the formula, area is equal to length times width, print out the area of the iPhone. So I give you guys like 2 minutes to do this. You guys can like private chat me your code if you guys are done. So I'll see if it works or not. Okay, hopefully you guys are all finished by now, and your answer should have been, it should have looked like this. You should have assigned phone length to 5.78, phone width to 2.82, and then printed phone length times phone width. And the answer should have looked something like this: 16.2995, 999, I guess, bunch of nines and then an 8, which I guess you guys can just round to like 16.3 or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure why it always like is very little off, and then you just have these nines and stuff when
So
you have the floats.
yeah, this kind of has something to do with how Python's, yeah, so Angelina mentioned, but has the same question. There can only be 6 to 7 places max based off of how math works. Let's say you were multiplying it out with the pencil. This basically has to do with how Python stores floats and integers. This can happen with integers too. Sometimes when you're doing operations, you get like, so you get maybe like 0.000001 or something like that. There's always might be like an error when Python is like storing like the number 2.82. There might be like in the back end, like in the computer, it doesn't store it as exactly 2.82. And when you multiply it, you're gonna get some like weird answer sometimes. So the answer should technically be 16 times 16.2996. Because if you think about it, 8 times 2, which is the last 2 digits, multiplies out to have a final digit of 6. But the way Python stores its floats, it like stores it kind of incorrectly and you end up with a bunch of 9s. So it can be troublesome sometimes, but that's kind of just how it works. So does that answer your question, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Daniel, I guess maybe I guess corruptions is the correct term to use for it. So yeah, there's always there's like corruptions when it's storing the data, but um maybe if you I guess if you use a little bit of like common sense and like do a little math yourself, you'll realize that the final digit should be 6, and your answer is actually 16.2996 rather than whatever this is right here. All right, so cool. Let's go on to the next question. Um, find a area of a 12-foot by 12-foot rug using exponents. So I know you guys can do 12 times 12. But try to make use of exponents. Remember, exponents in Python is made by using 2 stars. So instead of just 1 star, you do something star star. And also find the volume of a 5-inch cube of water. And lastly, using modulus, find the remainder when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is divided by 11. You guys can type that into the chat when you guys are done as well. Okay, I think someone asked how long is class? It should last till 8 o'clock. I'll try to get through all the information by then. So it seems like a lot of people are done so far. So the answer you guys should have gotten is this. 12 star star 2, which means 12 squared. So that's 12 to the power of 2, which is 144. And then 5 star star 3, because that indicates cube, since volume is always sorry about that. The volume is always like is a number to the power of 3, since it has 3 dimensions. So it's 5 times 5 times 5. And lastly, to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The remainder when it's divided by 11, we make use of modulo. And we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And a percent sign is the symbol, and then 11. So that should give you 144, 125, and 5. Okay, so there's no questions, we'll move on. So next we're gonna talk about string concatenation. You can add 2 strings just like you can add 2 integers. Like we just did. I don't think we've had actually integers, but like just like you can add like 2 plus 2 or like 3 plus 3, you can add 2 strings as well. In this code segment, you can, oh, sorry, Nathan, did you have something to say? Okay,
No.
No.
okay, wait, alright, thanks. So In this code segment here, we have a variable greeting text and a variable question text. And the full text we assign to greeting text plus question text. So you can define a variable using other variables as well. And you'll see that if we print full text, it'll print, hey there, how are you doing? When you're concatenating strings, you kind of just smush them together. Like you just take one string, add it onto the other one, and then turn it into one entire string. So this will print, hey there, how are you doing? If you notice, there's no space between the exclamation mark and the H. That's because we never added a space. So if you do want a space, you should add a space at the end of hey there to make sure that when you concatenate them, you have a space in between, as proper grammar tells you. So here are some exercises you can try. Age is equal to, I've first defined the variable age. You'll see that we use it in letter E. So type the answers to me in chat. What do you think that each of these variables are going to be when they're printed? All right, sorry, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be like back in one moment. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, hopefully you guys, yeah, try to private message it so like you don't spoil the answer for some other people. But I'm seeing a lot of correct answers here, so oh, so Andy asked what the string of age mean. Oh, sorry, I didn't mention that. So the function str basically converts whatever is in it into a string. So the problem with directly, so let's take a look at C, for example. C says I have string 7 flowers. I can't just say I have 7 flowers without the str because 7 is an integer and Python will yell at you because it'll be like, oh no, you can't add strings and integers together. So yeah, intercompatible to be printed with strings. So you have to turn it into one. Yes, so are not compatible. And yes, 10 is an int, so you have to turn the integer 10 into the string 10. Okay, yeah. So yeah, thanks guys for you guys answered the question for me. So so exactly like they said, string just turns like string age turns the number 10 into a string 10. String of 7 turns the number 7 into a like the string 7. So I'll just show you the answer for this one. Oh, actually, okay. The answer, I didn't make a mistake on the slide, actually. This should be just string 3 plus 4 actually returns the same thing as C. This should be 3 plus 4. Because the thing with the string function is that the string function will it'll analyze whatever's in there, before it turns it into a string. So like string 3 plus 7 would it would essentially, sorry, here's the answer key. So yeah, string 3 plus 7, 3 plus 4 would actually print the same thing as C. But I did change D a little bit. So D, everyone's answer is now correct. That's my fault. So I have, so let's look at A. You just put the two strings together. You have hello world without a space in between them, since I didn't add a space anywhere. Hello space and then plus world. That would be hello world with the space in between. C, I have string 7 flowers. I put a space on both ends to make I have 7 flowers. D is I have 4 plus 3, 3 plus 4 flowers, but the 3 plus 4 is a string itself. So it would be I have 3 plus 4 flowers, not I have 7 flowers, because the 3 plus 4 is literally 3 plus 4. It's not, you're not actually adding anything. And then E is I am string 8 years old. So as you can see, you can pass a variable into the string function. Str would be turned 10 into the string 10. I am 10 years old today. I'm not actually 10 years old today, but I just have that number there. So, so here's another problem that combines string concatenation with integer operations that we had before. So given the following variables, X is the string 3, Y is the string 4, Z is the string 5, A is the number 3, B is the number 4, and C is the number 5. So these three are integers, these three are strings. Try to combine the variables to get the following outputs using string concatenation and integer computations. So for example, to get 583, you would print Z plus, that should, okay, there should be a string around it, but string A plus C, and then plus string of X. So I'll print 583. So try these 5 examples. Try printing 345 using just these variables, and plus minus signs. You can use str if you want to as well. So okay, actually, based off the amount of time left, just try the first one. Yes, just try the first one. That should be okay. If you guys could private message me the answer. Yeah, just 345 using X, Y, Z, or A, B, and C. Can you use order of operations in Python? Yes, you can use parentheses. Of course you can. Yes. Yes, PEMDAS still applies in Python. So it'll multiply before it divides, and sorry, not what am I saying? It'll multiply before it adds or subtracts, and exponents go before both of them in parentheses first. Oh, by the way, 345 can be, yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of correct answers. 345 can be written using print X plus Y plus C. And since they're all since they're all strings, concatenating them would just mush 3, 4, and 5 together. 21, I saw an answer, which is let me see, it is print string of C minus A plus string of C minus B. That would work. So string of C minus A is the string of 2, so the quote 2, and then you concatenate that with the string of C minus B, which is 1. So great job. 348, I see a print X plus Y, 3, 4, and then print with the string of C plus A. That's 8, that's correct. 155 is print string of B minus A, and then plus Z plus C, 3, that's 155, it's correct. And 122, someone said print string of B minus A. So that's 1, and then 22 plus string of C minus A plus string of C minus A, that's correct. So yeah, anyways, obviously there's so many ways to approach these, all of these. You could do pure math for all of these, or you could, be smart and make the use of strings and concatenate them. So yeah, I see a lot of, seems like everyone got the hang of this. I see all correct answers in the chat. So we'll move on to the next question. So the last thing we're going to talk about is changing variables. And variables that are assigned to numerical values can be changed. And say a restaurant is selling pizza at $5.50. And because of COVID-19, the prices of the pepperoni got higher and the cheese. So now they have to charge $1.15 extra for their pizza. So how do we update price from $5.50 and increase it by $1.15? One way to do it is price is equal to price plus 1.15, and that would update price to be 6.65. I'm sure all of you guys have done math with variables before. This probably looks extremely wrong. Price can't be, if you subtract price on both sides of the equal sign, you get 0 is equal to 1.15. But that's not necessarily how Python works. This is just the syntax for writing it. You assign the variable price to whatever price originally is, and then plus 1.15. So price is equal to 5.5 plus 1.15. And once we print that, we get 6.65. And then in the second code block of code, there's a not necessarily better, but like a shorter way to do it. And that's plus equal to. Plus equal to just basically adds 1.15. It does the same thing as price equal to price plus 1.15, except it's a little bit quicker. It's a little bit shorter, I should say. So both yield the same result, whichever you prefer. You can use either of those. They work in the exact same way. So here's a quick exercise. I give you guys till 8 o'clock to do this one. So determine the value of A after the code has finished running. So yes, just A is originally defined as 10, and then you just gotta follow all of the operations as listed. Okay, so a lot of people are saying like uh 40 with everyone. Not sure what that means, but just okay, so okay, I just revealed the answer, I guess. Anyway, so I'll just talk about it. So yeah, um A, uh there's only one A, so just whatever this final one, you only care about what this final one prints, and A at the final one would print 5.0. Yeah, so everyone seems to have gotten the answer. And I'll just quickly run through how this why this is what it is, why the answer is 5. So A is originally 10, and then we have A plus 10, and it will print A. So at this point, A is 20. Actually, this is easier if I just if I write this in the code here. Okay. All right, I'll do this. Okay, so after we run this section of code, you'll see that at this point, A is equal to what is it? A is 20. And we add another 10 onto A. So now A is equal to 30. Okay. And then we subtract 5. So 30 minus 5 is A is equal to 10, A is equal to A plus 10, it's 20. Yeah, it's 30. A is minus equal to 5. So A is equal to 25. A times equals to 2. So we'll multiply A by 2. A is equal to 50. And then in this case, A is equal to A divided by equal to 5. So 50 divided by 5 is 10. So that should yield the answer. So right now A is 10 at this point when we print it. And then finally, A star star equal to 2, which means A to the power of 2. And that would make, and 10 squared is 100. And finally, this last one, A is equal to A mod 30 minus A divided by 20. So 100 modulo 30 is 10, because 100 divided by 30 is a 3 remainder 2. 3 remainder 10, since 30 times 3 is 90, and then 100 minus 90 is 10, and 100 divided by 20 is 5, and then 10 minus 5 is 5. So you see if we run through this, and we get A is equal to 5 at the end. So Andy has a question. A star of 2, A star star 2 can be interpreted as A is equal to A squared. A to the, yes, that you are correct. The like plus equal to divided by equal to, double star equal to, that is just another form of writing A is equal to A and then double star 2. Yes, that is the same thing. So looks like all of you understand that one. A is equal to 5. So this is the last question. I'm sorry I'm keeping you guys for a little bit longer, but maybe just try this last one. In this case, A is 10, B is 15, C is equal to A. This one, make sure you think carefully, because you're assigning variables based off of other variables. So, think pretty carefully about this one, and determine the values of A, B, and C after the following code statement. Oh, sorry, someone asked me to explain what plus is equal to means, so. Plus is equal to is so I'll just copy this into here. Um, So. I hope I didn't reveal the answer, but so plus is equal to is the same thing as saying C is equal to C plus. So like A plus equal 10 is the same thing as adding 10 to A. And so this line of code does the same thing as this line of code. They both add 10 to A. They're just two different ways of writing it. So sorry, Ethan, does that answer your question? Yeah, okay, cool. Sounds great. No one saw the answer. Yeah, alright, okay, this one's a little bit tricky. Cause I see a lot of people with you guys are so close. All of your answers are very close, but I will, I'll give you guys, so everyone that's given me an answer so far, all of you have gotten A correct. A is 15. However, your B's and C's are a little bit off. I'll give you a hint that they're off by no more than 10. But don't just guess though. Try to review your work again. And I'll go over the answer in just 2 minutes. If actually I'll go over it like, yeah, I'll go over it at 8:08, so 1 minute. If so I'll give you guys a little bit more time to hopefully correct your answers. If you guys have like a new answer to submit to me, now is your chance. Uh, okay. All right, it's 8:08 now, so I'll just go over the answer. So this is what the final answer should be. A is 15, B is 25, and C is 20. So as you can see, this right here is a lot of you guys had like 30s for C, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, some of you guys had 30s for C. Seemed like to be a popular answer. Yes, 30 for C. So I'll go over why that's incorrect. So let me quickly go into the Collab and then add an extra code. So A is 15, B is 15, and C is A. So we can just basically make this equivalent to C is equal to 10, right? Because A is 10 and C is also A, so C is 10. And then A is equal to A plus 5. That would turn A is equal to 15 now. So everyone got that part correct. However, when we get to B, that's when it gets a little bit more complicated. So B is equal to A. So the current value of A is 15. So A is equal to 15 plus, and the value of C is 10. A lot of you guys probably thought C is also 10 because some of you guys put B, so C is also 15 because some of you guys put 30 as the answer for B. However, because C is defined before A is updated and turned into 15, however, before A that is changed into 15, C still retains its original value. So unlike math where it's like if you know if one variable changes, the other one does, programming is if you have C set to be equal to A in the beginning, it's gonna be 10 unless you change C. So if you change anything that happens to A, it won't affect C anymore once C is defined. So in this case, B would be equal to 15 plus 10, which is equal to 25. And then this last one should be relatively simple. So C is equal to C plus B minus A. So since B got updated before the code runs, it's 25. Then minus A. And since this is run after A is updated, it's 15. Oh, wait, what? B, C, yeah, okay, yeah, no, this is correct. And so it's equal to, now we sub in all the variables. C is still 10. And then plus 25 minus 15, which is equal to 10. That means C is equal to 20. That is the answer for this one. So anyways, let's get back to the presentation. Sorry for keeping you guys so long. Do you guys have any questions regarding the last question or anything? Anything about coding or this lesson that you guys need clarified? Feel free to ask it right now and I'll answer all your questions. Okay, great. So yeah, thanks. So it seems like there's no questions right now. So obviously thanks for coming, everyone. If you guys have any questions about coding or just want to email us about anything in general, our email is logistem21@gmail.com. Our website is logistem.club. The next club meet for coding, it's every Saturday. So every Saturday at 7 p.m. So the same time next week, we have coding club one more time. So anyways, thank you all for coming today. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and goodbye everyone.